Hey everyone, welcome back to AI Fellas.
We're back.
We're back with some heavy subject here. Taxes.
Not taxes, please.
Oh, taxes and AI.
Two middle-aged dudes with a mission in mind, trying to crack the code and not get left behind. They've seen floppy disks and dial-up tones. Now they're prompting AI from their podcast zones. AI Fellas. Yeah. Teaching robots how to think and feel. AI Fellas. Whoa. Helping keep it real. Starting with the AI Fellas. You won't be a mess.
Taxes and AI. What made you come up with this?
I was reading, Justin, the CEO of Anthropic, Dario Amodei, okay? Look, he's sounding the alarm. It's all over the internet. I'm seeing consistent articles on the idea that job displacement, replacement, however you want to classify this, removal, gone, zilch, no more. It's going to happen. And that kind of fear is not welcoming. We've got hundreds of millions of people that go to work every day.
Right. And we're going to lose a lot of sectors. It could be taxi drivers. Elon's already got his self-driving cars.
Right.
Uber's making a self-driving taxi. And you got teachers. You're going to see AI robots or AI machines in the classroom. You're going to lose, how many countless jobs?
Countless jobs? How about everyone? How about everyone sitting home? Well, listen, it brings me to the subject of the taxes, okay? It's a bold subject, but it's a bold topic about taxing, combining AI. We talked about this with robotics, and it's been on my mind and saying, okay, if someone is going to replace my job or replace hundreds of jobs or thousands of jobs in the sector, first of all, this revenue has to be recuperated somehow, right?
Right, and the concept is that you would tax the use of AI in order to give a universal income. Is that the idea?
A universal income,
right? Which
leads to what do you do every day?
What do you do every day?
What do you do every day?
But then, who's going to make the money to pay for the stuff in the first place, or is that just coming from your universal income?
I'm not sure.
How does this economy even work?
I don't know. You will own nothing and be happy is what I've heard.
This could be the truth.
That's what I've heard. But I'm just trying. When you see this subject time after time, and it's every week. Every week I say, okay, I'm going to dive into this just like you. I'm getting into this. I'm using Claude. I'm using ChatGPT, Midjourney. I'm using these different applications. And I'm saying, wow, these are fascinating. What they can do. Now people are using it for counseling. People are using it for relationship purposes. People are asking health. It goes on and on. It sounds exciting, but no one's talking about, and at least from the government's perspective and in the private sector, they're all sounding the alarm. That's great to sound the alarm, but where's the resolution? If it's 1 to 5 years out, based on this CEO's testimony, he's talking about it all over the internet. I've got articles. I'm going to show you some stuff. Right. But he's saying this. He's like 1 to 5 years out. So 2026 begins the wave of change.
It's rapidly accelerating too. Google's latest release on their generative video model that came out last week is incredible.
It's incredible.
It's a leap that's so vast. These leaps are happening so quickly. So maybe 5 years is not even 5. Maybe it's like 2 years. Maybe it's a year and a half at how fast this stuff is going.
Do you feel it's going to replace any of you?
I think the interesting part about AI is that it still needs input. It's not self-aware, so it can't come up with its own questions yet.
Prompt.
So as prompters, we still have a value as prompters.
I'm a master prompter. Are you going to be a master prompter?
Sounds weird.
I bet you
sounds a little dirty.
I bet you they're going to create training programs. So you're going to be a green, right?
So we're going to
a green belt, and then you're going to move up to a black belt.
Yeah.
Master prompter.
Master prompter. We got to come up with a better name.
I've come at master prompter. Well, hey, listen, that's where are we headed toward? Is that a new job?
Is that
a new certification?
I know it's a new job because Netflix had put this call out a year ago.
Okay, there you go. Okay, well,
I was like, what is happening?
But
and how do I get that job?
How do you get? I think you can, right? I think any one of us can learn how to prompt, right? It's not that I used prompting. I continue to modify it, don't you?
Well, I think there's still a level of fear that people have to even get beyond before they can even understand prompting. I think there's still a lot of holdouts that are rightly so scared of what it means and taking their time with letting this happen. But I think the reality is that it's already happened.
Yeah.
I think people that were concerned about how they got all this information, I think, are we past that, or are we still in the regulation phase before we even start talking about wide adaptation of? I mean, how many people have already adapted, like you and I?
Right.
And how many people are not on the boat yet?
Well,
or don't even want to know there's people don't even want to know there's a boat.
The boat started out to sail in
Right.
2015. It began to sail out, and the captains were on that ship, and each of them had their own role.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them agreed, some of them disagreed, some of them moved on, but they're all sounding the alarm. They're all sounding the alarm in different ways, but yet they continue to enhance the technology as fast as possible.
That's what I don't understand. I mean, how long? It wasn't very long ago that Elon Musk was saying AI and robotics are like the demise of the human race. He said this like a year ago.
Sure.
But he's been developing it this whole time. So what are they worried that if it's in the wrong hands, it's going to go the wrong way? Or are they seeing dollar signs? But then how does the economy even work if everyone's replaced by robots?
I think if you're looking at it just domestically in a U.S. scale and say, okay, just from the U.S., what we need to do, how do we need to go? We need to go as fast as possible. We need to educate our young. We need these prompt engineers. They're being, you just said it. How much are they making? I mean, are we six-figuring with some?
Yes,
that's crazy.
It's like 100.
That's crazy.
The Netflix job that was posted, I hope I can find it again, was like $300,000 starting pay.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's unbelievable.
It's unbevable.
But is that going to scale or is that the more people that get into the industry?
It's gonna,
right. It's going to
suddenly you're $20 an hour because there's 100 people that can prompt. Because now it's easy to prompt.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like everything else. When editing first came about, off of like cutting film strips,
right,
and it came into the computer with Avid, was one of the first programs.
Okay.
And Avid was a complicated system, and to make it work and know all the hardware, like you had to be somewhat of a computer nerd to run the machine.
Yes.
But now they're making everything so simple. Anybody can edit video on the phone, and they've made it so it's graphically pleasing, and the display and the control systems are like very intuitive. So yes,
everyday people can use it.
Everybody can use it.
Everyday people. And
yes.
I guess so let's get back to the tax. Where's the taxes going to come from?
Where are the taxes going to come from?
So we talked about the bust and the boom, right? The boom and the bust. Right. So that's going to happen. So where the taxation, right, is going to kick in. So if you're going to replace all these folks, they're not going to work. These organizations, they have to pay taxes, right?
Yes. Well, hopefully.
Okay.
Unless everything's written off to zero.
Oh, well,
we built the data center, and this is a construction write-off.
No.
This is
your first few years of your tax write-offs. Yeah, but that moves on, right? But the ultimate, at the end of the day, how as it scales out in the future,
right?
How are they going to like we think
power
of
consumption, water consumption,
there you
land.
Go. Now we're talking
property
about
tax.
Property tax, the everyday use. So the idea is that if you spend 8, 10 respectively hours of your day working, again, some folks do more, some do less.
Right.
And the organization says, I'm sorry, but we'll have to let you go. We've now have an AI that's replaced your role, and you leave the door. There's a salary that
we no longer need a horseshoeer.
So that revenue has to be replaced somehow, right? That manpower, that those folks that were working out there, that tax that collection has to continue to happen, is what they say. We have to continue to pay for this. Right. So efficiencies are great, but we're going to have to tax it at the same time.
Well, the taxation is going to be massive, because if you're going to introduce a national income, that's going to be...
Again, that's what they're saying.
National income is going to have to be a thing, because if we're replacing all these people, they're going to be displaced. And we can't just make everybody homeless, and it's not going to live on the streets.
But everyone's supposed to be happy.
Well,
that's what they're saying. There's some type of
because
utopia.
AI is going to make a utopia?
A utopia of some sort.
Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen.
Imagine in a world where you're not happy with your reality, the reality of your own world, that you decide to use the AI world as your alternate world and say that is...
But didn't they say that 100 times? Didn't they say that in Industrial Revolution? Okay, now we don't need farm workers because we've replaced this with that, and then we're going to replace factory workers. Like, no, we don't have to have kids running these machines anymore because we've made this mechanism that's going to do this for them. And then, but nobody saw the benefits besides the people that owned the factories.
True, but less manpower, probably less horsepower.
Less horsepower, less manpower.
That's it. But
until there is a utopian society where they're not influenced by wealthy people,
right?
And you don't have this sort of semi-oligarchy where the people that own the machines can control the government because they have so much wealth, until the government can stand up and say, we need to tax your property, your AI property, we need to tax the water usage, we need to tax your power consumption, and then we can give that back to the citizens that are unemployed because of this technology.
Well, it's
and that's not going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think that, it's
because Bezos and Musk and who's the other guy? He's a big power player. They're not going to let go.
Altman,
Altman. These people are going to let go of control or their power or their wealth.
They're not going to let go of control of power, but you can't just all of a sudden.
And wait, how many of those guys were at the inauguration? They're all sitting behind Trump.
All of them.
Yeah,
all of them.
That wasn't by mistake.
No, it's not by mistake, but that's where the power play is. Yeah. You got to go where the power play is.
And how much money did Musk give to Trump's campaign?
Oh, quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
And why? Oh, hey, I got this huge piece of property in Texas. We need to build this giant thing.
I don't know. You could go that direction. But I think it originally started. Remember, he was a Democrat, right? So Elon.
So was Trump.
They were all. That's right. That's right. We're going backwards, right? That's right.
What the hell?
But why did they all step out of the Democratic race to the other side?
Well, that's a political podcast.
It is. Listen,
I'm just saying.
How about taxing the robots?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I heard Bill Gates say that.
Taxing the robots.
Tax the robots.
They have a wage that's a tax.
Yeah.
Because they work for this many hours.
Yeah. Think of the efficiency, though, and the effectiveness. If you have a robot working,
and then the government's going to take it, and they're going to do something with it that becomes the national income,
or some sort. Give it back to the or not an income, or maybe we'll use income at this time, or it's some sort of subsidy, or a check in the mail, or because we're no longer needed in this.
And how many people are going to love that? And what do you do with your day all day?
That's not
I wouldn't be able to sit home and just do
It's
nothing.
a good thing and it's a bad thing. There's got to be a balance in everything. I don't think, idle hands are good.
I mean, I'm sure somebody is using some kind of forecasting to understand what the economy with AI at full tilt means.
Yeah, they have to continue to bring in tax revenue. So you're going to have to continue that no matter what.
Right.
So if you're saying, if Justin's not going to work or Laz is not going, where there's no more tax coming from these folks, and we're going to put a robotic replacement. Okay, now the income's coming. But what are we going to tell that individual that has a mortgage to pay and this to pay and that to pay? And what happened to their income?
And this happens on a mass scale.
And this happens as a mass scale. Right. How are they going to? There has to be some type of bridge, a bridge. Yeah. Right? A bridge loan. Here comes that bridge loan. But it's a way to bridge from one to the other, but not create a whole population of folks sitting idly.
Right.
That's not a good thing either.
That's not a good thing either.
No, we have to.
I mean, the other thing, too, besides taxation is going to be regulation, because you're going to, the government could say, this will not be AI. Or this won't be a robot.
Well,
because a union will come up and say, truck driver union says, no robots.
Well, follow the money. Always follow the money.
Exactly.
Follow the money and then where it's being taxed, right? So follow those two. But
it's an incredible, complex system.
Very complex system.
It's not going to be like tomorrow, no jobs, national income.
You can't. You're going to have a massive displacement of folks that are unhappy.
But people have to realize that this is going to happen.
Of course. Right. Listen, if you and I are chatting here today,
right,
about this.
And we're just regular guys.
We're just regular AI fellas, right? I mean, that has to be on the minds of the big thinkers of our world to say, if we have a large population that's not going to go to work on an everyday basis, we're not going to be collecting taxes from them in that way, or payroll taxes, right? Payroll, that old payroll deduction, right? It's not going to exist. So where is it going to come from? Oh, we're going to get it from robots. Okay, but still, what are the folks are going to be doing every day? The technology is moving so fast that at least, unless you get involved in it, skill yourself in it.
Yeah.
And you're a scientist, data science, and a business inventor, or get involved in it somehow. I just see yourself becoming a great farmer. Hey, cars are going to be always needed, right? Are they going to or fly? Well, even if they're automated, they still have to get fixed, right?
Yeah.
But
that's right. Someone has to fix them.
With robotics, maybe with some robotics and man-made, or whatever it is, type of thing.
It's like a dominoes effect, because you think, oh, they're always going to need someone to fix the cars, but why don't they just make a robot to fix the cars?
Well, think about it.
And then who's going to fix the robot? Well, a robot's going to fix the robot.
President Trump just said, and I heard it in the last couple of weeks, about the idea of, did you hear about the Harvard funding that he was looking to reallocate some of that?
Yeah.
And I know that some of that is sensitive subject, but the idea of just financing the trade schools.
Yeah.
So now you have, and now you have a larger generation of the youth that's saying, I think I'm going to switch from that white collar to the trades.
Right. We have a shortage of blue collar workers at this time.
Well, blue collar, that was how it's always been labeled. But I'm going to say maybe
trades.
The trades. Maybe we're headed to a new labeling of that.
That's fine.
A whole new respect of the trade.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when I was younger, I'll just say, when you thought about the trades, I was like, not really. I'd like to put on a shirt and tie and go to work, and I do that, sort for a living, right? But at the same time, the trades double, triple the hourly rate, right? The need, the growing demand, old infrastructure. And think of how many states have old infrastructures.
Right.
Oh my goodness, in the United States
this
alone.
is my point. This is a good point, because if we haven't been able to run this country the way it is without AI, and we're in this derelict state of the infrastructure collapsing, our some of the sewage and water piping in these cities are hundreds of years old.
The bridges.
Like 100 years
old.
The bridges are if we can't even run the country without AI, and then we introduce this massive disruptive technology, what the heck is going to happen?
Well, okay, that is. But on the other side too, can we use the technology to recreate our infrastructure in a way that it lasts longer? Look what they're doing overseas. And when President Trump went over to, I think it was Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia is making huge investments.
Huge investments in their cities and infrastructures. And supposedly, I haven't seen, but supposedly they're fascinating in the way they're developing and the speed and the rapid speed and pace they're doing it at.
Amazon, Musk, all these big AI players are making huge investments into Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, huge investments. Huge investments here.
What does that mean? I can't even understand.
It's the expansion.
Less regulation.
Well, expansion of AI, continuous, right? So it's a bridging. Okay, it's a bridging of two nations, all right? Two saying we're going to work together.
The thing that I don't understand, maybe
each other.
Maybe we can look more into this, and maybe some of our viewers can help us answer these questions. But
oh yes,
I don't understand why, if we're going to build these giant, if it's already this good,
yes.
Now we're building these huge data centers.
Yes.
Is that because there's going to be a higher demand on the system, or is this a more upgraded, complicated system, or is it both?
I think it's in the infancy side, so maybe some of this, the way, and again, I have no idea, but I'm going to take a hunch here. When you're moving at the speed that they are, think of the amount of capital that's being used to do what they're doing on an infrastructure. It's massive inside. You even said, look what they're doing in Texas. How big that
as far as the eye can see, kind of thing.
It's massive, these infrastructures.
Right.
Just like one time the phone was a foreign, big. I don't know if you remember in Wall Street.
Hello.
Yeah, and no, think about it in Wall Street when Gordon Gekko grabs that phone. He's got this big. He's on the beach. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember
this
this ad.
big, the antenna. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, the whole idea is that was the beginning of the cell phones, and
Right.
then and now it's a smartphone, and they got smaller, they got smarter, they got. I think just like with this infrastructure investment, it's big now. It may get messy. There may be some waste.
Yeah.
There may be some consolidation.
Right.
There may expansion.
Could be a ghost town someday.
That's exactly just like the gold mine rush, right? And they all rushed from the
So
east
this
to this.
speculative market is
There's-
like, oh,
yes.
here's all the money.
Right.
Because there's a speculation that this is going
Tons
to be
of
huge.
it. Trillions of dollars are being poured into this with regulation that's somewhat there.
Yeah.
We can see that it's somewhat there. We don't know enough. We're not educated enough, but we can hear it generalized and say regulation is there. But yet expansion of this, we talked about robotics overseas.
Yeah.
Look what they did over in China. They had a robotic marathon.
Look at a robotic Olympics.
20 something robots were running at all different paces at
I
each
think
other.
we need,
I'm like, this is so they're racing with their. It's who can build this technology faster.
Right.
So
Right.
what you're seeing, just like anything else, is this. You said it, a speculative gold rush that's
Yeah.
occurring
Yeah, gold rush.
with lots of money. Lots of money.
Right.
So even if you and I came up with an AI idea, lots of money, right?
Right.
And then
Can't wait to see how many fakes are out there.
well, fraud.
This does nothing.
Well, there's going to be a lot of, unfortunately, technology that doesn't go far,
Yeah.
in application.
So everyone's just riding this bandwagon. Right now.
There's a big bandwagon
because
here.
it's a national crisis, because it's a race to see who can come up with the best.
Crisis, yes, if you want to phrase it that way. But it's
Race.
It's a race.
It's a race.
It's a race.
Space
to
race.
A space race of who could put the man on the moon,
Right.
right? Who could put the first man?
But what
on
is
the
the
moon?
man on the moon for this? Is this defense? Is it attack? Is it, we have the best AI hacking system in
And
the
that's
world.
the inappropriate part, or the part that we're saying, wait a minute, it's time to unplug it. Are we
Or
going?
is
Are we
this
going to use this?
governing?
Yeah, is this going to be used for everyday? A great use of to expand humankind's
Yeah.
ability to say, oh, this is. I love being alive today. My life today is it's so great. All of these efficiencies, everything is so convenient. Everyone cares about my health. I can go to the doctor. They can find out. I don't even need to go to the
You
doctor.
don't even need to go to
I'll
the
just
doctor.
talk to them, and
It's
I'll
like
get.
Star Trek. They got the little handheld thing.
Remember that? Those.
Oh, here it is. Zip.
Zip. It's coming.
Ah,
At the end of
my
the
liver.
listen, at the end of the day, we'll close on this.
Yeah.
Taxes and AI, okay, they're going to work in regulation. All of these things are up in the air. They're going to figure it out as it goes on. It's pretty much
They're going to try to figure it out.
They're going to try to figure it out. They're going to implement. They're going to do this. They're going to put this law in place. Something is going to occur to stir the pot. And we didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
But yet, all of these professionals, great minds, are saying something is coming. And that's how we started this whole conversation is, hey, something is coming. Well, okay, let's just start talking about it a lot more. And let's see if we even hear it in the general sense. And if we're hearing it on TV and everywhere we go. And the general conversation at the coffee shop is, hey, did you hear what AI is about to do or what's happening? I think that's what has to happen.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people still don't realize that their everyday jobs are about to get changed in some way. And just learn the technology, adapt to it, and move on.
And know that is a thing.
Or maybe move on. I don't know. We'll see you later, folks.
All right.
See you next week.